Right, back live with you tonight here on In Focus. The Council of Stellenbosch University has agreed to establish a committee to investigate allegations of nepotism against vice-chancellor and rector Wim de Villiers, who is already in the firing line over the use of Afrikaans at the university. Let's speak now to Sifiso Zungu, South African Students' Congress, Western Cape, for more insight on this. Sifiso, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Why has it taken so long to get to this point where these claims of nepotism are taken seriously? It looks like they've been raised over a number of times, but no seriousness in investigating them has seemingly been demonstrated.
Thanks, Pratibo, for having us, and good evening to your viewers. Pratibo, we find ourselves as a South African Student Congress also worried and asking ourselves questions to say that why only now when Prof. Wim de Villiers is only left with a year to finish his term, why there's so much interest around his nepotism? Because we are very worried. At first, when we heard the first case, we were shocked, but when we heard the second case, then we got more and more worried to say that if Prof. Wim has been here for a period of more than 8 years towards 4 months, what has been happening in actual fact around the issues of nepotism, if it's only now that we're going to speak about these kind of issues, you know? So that's where we are currently as a student in Stellenbosch University.
So this matter apparently is a motion placed on the agenda by a DAMP, Dr. Leon Schreiber, and seconded by Dr. Jan Hunes, President of the Executive Committee of the Convocation. What exactly are they seeking to investigate here?
Now, it's known, and it's a known fact. One, for us as a South African Student Congress, we really refuse to become political punching bags of the DA and then become a scapegoat of the Convocation President. I think if you've been following the Convocation of Stellenbosch, they've been actually acting against the Vice Rector of Stellenbosch University. Is not only now, you know, so they've been an agenda to try and remove the Vice Rector. But then with DA, again, we know that for them, is not necessarily, there's nothing, this fight between these two white groups, it has nothing to do, especially with us, black students within the context of Stellenbosch University. It has nothing to do with us, but it's only a matter that it's fighting the language policy within the institution, because we cannot take it away from Prof. Wim de Villiers that when it comes to the language policy of Stellenbosch University, he has been becoming very progressive in changing certain things around the language policy. So we know that there's been a fight, especially for DA, to try and also mobilize the Afrikaner group to come back to DA in terms of looking as if they are fighting this idea of Afrikaans being removed within the institution. So we know that the fight that comes from the DA, it has nothing to do with the transformative agenda of the institution.
So you're saying his troubles are emanating, I suppose, also from this issue of the language troubles?
Yes, the primary one, they emerge from that of the language policy of the institution. But you will remember that last year there was a report coming from Justice Kampempe, right? And this year, from March, actually, Prof. Wim de Villiers was expected to start implementing certain recommendations that came with that report. But if these things are happening, you can understand that this is a distraction towards progress, you know. So we know that in that report that was drafted by Kampempe, there was more on the emphasis of language policy, and there were attacks coming from the Convocation refusing that language, kind of a report will never be implemented in Stellenbosch University. The same applies to DA. They act against that report to say that any recommendation that is within that report, nothing is going to be implemented. So they knew that this year is the year that actual Prof. Wim de Villiers need to start implementing those recommendations coming from that report. So coming with this kind of later text towards Prof. Wim, we know that it has nothing to do with any progress within the institution, but is to distract the small progress that we are currently having as an institution.
So there's a grave concern here being raised, saying that the South African human rights findings of March 15, 2023 regarding the various human rights violations, and by the human rights violations, they are talking about Afrikaans-speaking students whose right to use Afrikaans at certain residences had been limited, saying this in broad terms, harms the university's reputation and integrity and puts it in a very serious light. What's your view there?
For us as students, we know, because we live the life here of Stellenbosch University, there is no student that is being refused to speak their own language here. I'm coming from KwaZulu-Natal. I speak Zulu at any time, at any room when I want to speak Zulu with anyone who then feel comfortable to speak Zulu with me. Same applies to African students. They speak Afrikaans each and every day. Even in the same event that is being claimed to say that African students were refused to speak Afrikaans, in actual fact, that was not the case. The only thing that happened there was to appeal to some students to say, to make the program is, because it was a welcoming time, to make the program is, can we all be subjected to just speak English for this program? Afterwards, you can be freely go back to your home language and speak as much as you want. But then the DA was able to take the story and turn it as if African students are being refused to speak Afrikaans in Stellenbosch University, of which that's a lie. Even in certain meetings today, you will go to a meeting, you will find people still speaking with Afrikaans and no one is stopping them. So, of course, the higher court find whatever it find, and of course the university needed to be subjected to that in terms of respecting the court itself.
Now, do you think that the rector enjoys a majority in that council, or is it a foregone conclusion then, therefore, that those who want him out at least will get that two-thirds majority when that council goes to vote?
Our current observation is that Prof. Wim de Villiers actually is leading. And then he enjoys majority of the support of the council, because we understand, as much as he's not a perfect man himself, but we understand that there is a sense of progress from 2015 towards now, that there's certain things in Stellenbosch University that have changed because of his true leadership towards a true transformative institution of Stellenbosch University, right? So we know that, understanding the work that he has done, there is majority support. We have seen even yesterday the most alumni and convocant of this university have stand in solidarity with Prof. Wim de Villiers to say that there is no convocation that is going to just stand in a mountain and shout that Prof. Wim must be removed without consulting actually the whole idea of alumni of Stellenbosch University. So you can understand from that background that actually Prof. Wim does enjoy actually a majority support of the institution.
But what would that then mean for the rest of his stay in that particular position if, of course, there are those who will be constantly working against him?
Our worry currently is that, why only now? Why are these fighters are so coming now when he's about to finish his term? That's where we are worried about, is to say, actually, what is the whole idea? Because you don't even understand where this group are coming from. They're just coming now and they are very harsh towards him. And we're asking ourselves to say, why only now? Why are you so committed to make sure that he's being removed to this post before he even finishes his term? Why only now? So that's why we're worried. We're not really worried about him staying long or not. Us, we're worried about these attacks that are coming within the institution, because we know that if these attacks are being allowed to carry on, certain things that Prof. Wim needs to finish, he won't be able to finish. He's going to be subjected to defend himself around those attacks.
Do you see a situation similar to what happened at UCT, where he might be given a golden handshake to leave early?
I see him being given the opportunity to finish his term, understanding how then he's being supported around the institution. So that's how I view things. But of course, for now, as the council has said yesterday, then they have created a committee that is still going to investigate these certain allegations around him. So we will wait until then, until we get a response from that committee and take it from there.
Sifiso, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Sifiso Zungu, he's with the South African Student Congress, provincial chairperson there in the Western Cape.